Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're unpacking a really fascinating narrative phenomenon. We're looking at a classic zero-to-hero story, right? But with a super addictive twist. In this specific world, limitless wealth isn't just about kicking back and living in luxury. Nope, it becomes the ultimate, precision-guided tool for social retribution. We are talking about the ultimate revenge fantasy, and honestly, the psychology behind why we absolutely love it is incredibly compelling.
Okay, let's dive into this by asking a pretty simple question. What actually happens when an underdog is handed the ultimate cheat code for revenge? Meet our protagonist. His name is Leon. When we first run into him, he is literally at the lowest point a person can be. I mean, rock bottom. He's this discarded, overworked employee who gets unceremoniously fired by his manager, Lily, literally for not bringing her a gift. It's crazy. He is completely powerless. But then, his entire reality just flips, and he goes from being a completely broke, disrespected nobody to a secret billionaire almost overnight.
Part 1. The Power Fantasy. A gamified reality.
So the main catalyst for this massive shift is this magical interface called the profession system. It gives Leon these undercover jobs but rewards him with just mind-boggling wealth. The whiplash from his starting point to his new reality is absolutely staggering. Before the system, fired, dumped by his girlfriend, totally broke. Literally minutes after it activates, his very first reward just for accepting a job as a quote-unquote driver is a $30 million Pagani Zonda and 100% ownership of the 5-star Ban Dao Hotel. Insane, right? But here is the absolute genius of the narrative. Leon doesn't just sit around in a mansion. He actively works these undercover, working-class jobs, like a taxi driver or a courier. And these ordinary jobs serve as the absolute perfect bait to draw out arrogant people who judge him by his uniform.
Which brings us to our first scale of retribution. Section 2, Revenge on the Ex, Instant Karma.
Now just look at this quote from his ex, Laura, right around the time he gets fired. She says, "He remained the same loser and I do not want to waste my time on him anymore." Ouch. She dumps him over the phone at his absolute lowest moment and just immediately moves on to some wealthier guy. It is brutal. But from a storytelling perspective, this sets the stage perfectly. It builds up this massive karmic debt that we, the audience, are just absolutely desperate to see paid in full.
And let me tell you, the payoff is incredibly satisfying. Shortly after the breakup, Laura is hanging out at the super luxury Banto Hotel with her new rich boyfriend Monahan. They spot Leon there and immediately start laying into him, mocking him, calling him a beggar. Laura even orders the hotel's security guards to throw him out. She's fully expecting to just sit back and watch him be humiliated. But instead, to her absolute utter shock, the security guards march right up and bow respectfully to Leon. Why? Well, because the system just gifted him full ownership of the hotel. He's literally their ultimate boss. That total flip in the power dynamic leaves Laura just speechless. She's regretting everything. It is a total masterclass in instant karma. But he doesn't stop at personal slights. Let's move to and see how this builds. Number 3, Crushing the Elite, a rude awakening. $30 million. That is the ridiculous price tag of Leon's Pagani Zonda. And he uses this exact vehicle to completely destroy an arrogant elite named Louis. So here's what happens. Leon offers a stranded CEO named Elizabeth a ride, and Louis starts mocking Leon, telling him his car must be a complete piece of junk compared to Louis's own $20 million ride. Leon doesn't even argue. He literally just pulls out his keys and unlocks the $30 million Pagani parked right next to them. The psychological destruction is instant. Louis goes from mocking Leon to literally begging for forgiveness, pleading just to sit in the driver's seat. Leon, of course, just tells him he's unworthy and drives off.
This perfectly highlights a distinct narrative structure that makes the story so incredibly addictive. I like to call it the humiliation loop, and it has 3 very predictable, highly satisfying steps. Step 1. An elite mocks Leon because he's working some undercover gig, like a courier or a driver. Step 2. Leon casually reveals his extreme, totally insurmountable wealth. And step 3, the elite's entire worldview just crumbles, and they end up begging for forgiveness. The comedic absurdity of these billionaires trying to flex on a guy who literally owns the ground they are standing on, it just never gets old. Just to give you a quick taste of how creatively this loop is applied, check out these anecdotes. First, we have Charlie, who tries to throw his weight around at a VIP racetrack, only for Leon's manager to step in and reveal that Leon just bought the entire circuit. No big deal. Then there's Cheryl.
She's a passenger who verbally abuses Leon while he's driving a taxi, literally calling him a loser. Well, later that very same day, she shows up for a job interview at Leon's hotel, only to find out that the loser taxi driver is actually the CEO. He has security drag her out. Oh, and my personal favorite, Lenny. He tries to flex his wealth on a public beach, so what does Leon do? He simply orders a brand new Ferrari to be delivered directly onto the sand via a courier van just to humble the guy. It is pure, weaponized karma.
Now, let's escalate things to the final macro level of revenge. Number 4, corporate warfare, secret billionaire.
This is where Leon starts navigating these ultra-high-stakes business negotiations and dominating entire industries. And this brilliantly illustrates how the game completely changes at the top. Leon's business rivals, like this extremely arrogant executive named Arlo, try to use traditional, cutthroat corporate strategy against him, right? So Arlo decides to dump $50 billion in shares onto the market. His goal is to crush Leon's company's stock and bankrupt him. But Leon doesn't use traditional business strategy to counter. He doesn't go hold press conferences or frantically seek out investors. Nope, he just uses his limitless system funds to secretly buy up every single share Arlo dumps, completely absorbing the attack without even breaking a sweat.
$45 billion. That is the staggering amount of capital Leon drops in a matter of hours to counter Arlo's attack. The sheer scale of that number sends Leon's enemies into an absolute panic. See, because they operate in the real world, they mistakenly assume Leon must be taking out massive suicidal bank loans and mortgaging his entire life to fight them. They are completely unaware that he possesses a system-generated cheat code. They think they're bleeding him dry, while in reality, Leon is fighting them with infinite ammo.
So, what do we actually take away from all of this? Why does this specific structure resonate so deeply with audiences? Well, it brings us to the thematic conclusion of our explainer. Section 5. Weaponized wealth, the core appeal.
So, the crucial point is this concept of weaponized karma. In this narrative, money really isn't used to buy luxury goods or just kick back and live a life of leisure. Leon doesn't actually care about the mansions or the shiny watches for their own sake. Wealth is entirely a mechanism to buy status, enforce justice, and deliver immediate, deeply satisfying vengeance. It's this amazing fantasy where the societal scale, which honestly so often feels tipped in favor of the corrupt and arrogant, can be instantly recalibrated by a good guy with infinite resources.
Which leaves us with a final thought to really reflect on: why do we love seeing karma delivered wrapped in a billion-dollar bow? Perhaps it speaks to our own modern frustrations with inequality and that sort of universal desire we all share to see arrogant bullies finally put in their place by the ultimate undercover underdog. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I hope this gave you a really fascinating look into the underlying mechanics of the modern power fantasy. Until next time, keep analyzing the stories you love.